Okay. Hi, Kim. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you this evening or this afternoon?
Doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Nice to have you with us. Let's see. Your book is called When Hope Found Me. Is that correct?
Yes, and it just released on pre-order actually, so to be released on the 24th. And right now on Amazon, actually, I just checked, it's ranking at number two.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was exciting. It was a pleasant surprise. So yeah, that was kind of fun to see that.
Is this part of a series or is it a standalone or what?
Right, it's a standalone. I have a series prior to this called When Grace Found Me, and that's a three-book series. And it just turned into that. It was supposed to be one book, and then people that wanted to share their stories of grace just kept contacting me, and it ended up being three books. So we're going to see how When Hope Found Me rolls along. But if it turns into a series, then that's awesome because more people need more hope and the world needs more hope. So if I can be the one that tosses those little nuggets of hope out there, I want to keep on doing it.
Are you self published or do you have a publisher?
Listening to Your Voice Publishing did the When Grace Found Me series, and I did this one on my own.
Oh, all right. Any particular reason why?
My publisher was going through some tremendous personal things, and I didn't want to put extra pressure on her. So
Oh,
that's why.
okay. All right. On your bio, it says that you're a TV host on Your Dreams TV network.
Believe in Your Dreams
Oh,
television network. Yeah.
believe in your dream. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little about that because I've never heard of it.
It's a new network that just kind of formed itself, oh, I would say about 2 years ago, and it's online streaming. And my show, The Right Stuff, the author's voice, so that's WRITE, The Right Stuff, the author's voice. The first 8 episodes are up and streaming on Roku, Amazon Prime, LG Smart, Sony Select, all different kinds of platforms online that you can see them. The seasons go for 12 episodes, and I'm currently just finishing up recording season two. And it was something that just came to me. I was a guest on a podcast, and the podcast host, afterwards, we were chit chatting, and she said, "Have you ever considered having your own television show?" And I said, "No, I just started my own podcast. I don't know what I'm doing." And so I thought about it for a while and decided to hop on board and give it a try. And it's been an absolute blast. And I get to meet some amazing people through doing the show and my podcast. And I'm sure you do the same. You know, the people that you meet and connect with they're just amazing. It's just the technology that can bring the world closer together is awesome, actually.
Well, that was the theory behind the internet, I think. Whether it's done that or not, I don't know. It remains to be seen. But, well, what is your show then? Tell us a little about it.
I have authors on. It's all authors. My guests are all authors, from those who are just starting their writing journey to USA Today and New York Times bestsellers. And so they come on and they share their writing journey. They don't necessarily talk about their newest release or the books that they have out, although I do give them a chance to do that. The main point of it is to have them share with, their readers and their fans, or just people in general, why they decided to write, what makes them a writer, what is that driving force behind them wanting to weave words together to make an impact on the world. And so they share their journeys, and it's just fascinating to hear, because I have authors, they write in all genres, from science fiction to horror and thriller to nonfiction, poetry. Had some amazing poets on there, and a lot of them are bestsellers and award-winning authors. So it's been quite a journey for myself.
So it's an interview slash conversation chit chat sort of show. Yeah.
Yes, yes, very casual. And each of my guests have all said that they've just loved being my guest because I made them feel comfortable. They didn't feel nervous. So I guess I did something right on that end, but I'm glad that they're enjoying it. And then they're also able to, get the word out about their books and such, but then to share their journey for those that are out there that might be sitting there thinking, "Oh, I've always wanted to write a book. I don't know how, I don't know what direction to turn, or is my writing worth it? So all of those questions and things like that are addressed and answered, and it just gives that little spark to maybe someone who's sitting out there that, maybe their flame's dimming a little bit and they just needed that little nudge to get their pen to paper again.
Is this an in-studio thing, or do you do it on Zoom or Skype or something?
I actually do it via Zoom right now.
Okay.
It's in the beginning stages. Hey, one of these days, I might be able to do studio type stuff, but we're still growing and learning. I'm learning as I go. So you never know where it's going to take us.
Well, that's true enough in this business. Every day is a brand new year. Um,
Yeah.
Let me switch this over to you, the focus a little bit. So, have you been a writer your entire life?
No, actually, I call myself an accidental writer. In 2000, early 2000s, I was asked to give a speech. I'm a veteran. And so I was asked to give a speech about my step grandfather, who was the last surviving World War I veteran in this area. So I was asked to give a speech to at a very large event. So there was over 800 veterans and other people there. And I had worked weeks and I was nervous. I'd never spoken in public before. And I had it was a 15-minute speech. And that's a long time to talk for someone who's never spoken public before. So I worked really hard at it and gave that speech, and I was finished with it. And it was complete silence, hundreds of people in complete silence. And it felt like it lasted forever. And then just like this roar grew of clapping and cheering and yelling. And I went, oh, they liked it. I was nervous. But afterwards, the editor of the local newspaper approached me and said, would you consider writing a monthly article on veterans for the newspaper? And I said, I'm not a writer. I'm probably not the person for this. And they said, well, who wrote your speech? And I said, well, I did. And they said, well, then you are a writer. And that's how it began. I started doing a monthly article for the newspaper and did that for about 14 years. And in between that, I was, started writing my own stuff, and then was approached to participate in an anthology and just rolled from there.
So, the speech was about your grandfather?
Yes, my step grandfather.
Step grandfather. Okay.
He was the last surviving World War I veteran. He died 3 days before his 104th birthday.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, he had an amazing story. It was an amazing story to share. He was the last man of the Last Man's Club, and they formed that on Armistice Day in a small village in France called Fimes, France. And they had a bottle of wine that the mayor had provided to them to thank them for protecting their tiny little village. And that bottle of wine, they made a pact, this whole group of guys. They made a pact that that wine would pass from comrade to comrade as they passed away. And they met for years. Once a year, they met for years, but then, of course, they all passed away. And my grandfather was the last one, the last surviving one of the Last Man's Club. And he had that bottle, and now that bottle resides in the town that I live in as a tribute to him.
Well, that's great. Was he in pretty good health to the end, or did he have health issues, or?
He did really well until he's about 99. And then he did go into a nursing home because he just wasn't able to take care of himself at that time. But he made it to 99 living on his own.
Well, that's pretty tremendous. I think anytime, if we can get past 80 without any major health issues, I think we're doing all right.
Yes, I agree. My mother just turned 80 last Saturday. And she says, hey, I'm still here and I'm still kicking. So I think that's good. I'm like, well, yeah, Mom, it is.
Absolutely. We've got just a few minutes left, and I do want to get your book in here. So your book is called When Hope Found Me. Can you give us a 1 or 2 minute synopsis?
Yeah, it's an anthology. There are 18 different people in there that they're sharing their stories of hope, of maybe when they lost it and they found it again, or when hope was presented to them in some sort of way. And the stories, some of them are pretty hard hitting. It touches on suicide, suicide attempts, incarceration, domestic abuse, all kinds of things. And going through that storm, major storms for a lot of the people that participated, but still coming out the other side stronger and with that spark of hope in their heart so they can keep on going, and then they can take their mess and turn it into a message for others. So people aren't still sitting in the dark. They can read these stories and say, okay, yeah, I can get through this. I can do this. And that's why I'm doing the book right now. But there's so much darkness and so much depression and sadness in the world. And I want to be one of those people that just tosses nuggets of hope. And that's been my theme throughout this entire year. Just tossing nuggets of hope like confetti because the world needs it.
Well, that's a good point. Do you have a personal story in the book, or is it other people?
I have a personal story in the book. Yes.
Do you want to give us a quick 1 minute? Don't give it all away, but just an overview of what your personal story is?
An overview. It is about my rescue dog, actually, and how when I was in a dark spot, he came into my life, and the hope that was in his little eyes was able to help me climb out of my darkness at that time. So my rescue dog was my hope.
Oh, that's nice. I am a huge animal lover. I've got two of them. They're sitting right out here in the hall in the studio. I bring them with me every time I come in. And they're a joy. I mean, it's a different relationship.
They're nothing but love.
Yeah, they're nothing
Yeah.
but love. And it's a different relationship than you have with your people. People can be wonderful. People can be the loves of your lives. They can also be pains in the ass. But the dogs have a stabilizing, calming sort of, they're always there. It's hard to explain, but
All they want to do is please you.
yeah.
That's all they want to do is please you and love you. And that is just, that unconditional part of it is just, oh, I tell you,
Well, and they ask for,
it gets me every time.
the only thing you have to do is you have to feed them and you have to love them. And that's it. And they will lay down their life for you.
Yes. Yes, they will.
And
And they save you. They
yeah,
save you, whether you're in a harm's way or not. I know my dog did, just by the presence.
yeah, and their emotional sensitivity is tremendous.
I was just yes, they're so intuitive. And I know my dog previous to the one I have now, he passed away at 14. And the one I have now, they're both very, very intuitive to my emotions
Yeah.
and what's going on. And a lot of times they'll pick up on things before I do.
If you're having a tough time, they feel it and they'll come right up to you.
Yes.
And even physical pain. I know
Yeah.
that sometimes I put my back out and they know when I'm in physical pain.
Yeah. You get the
Yeah.
nose nudges. I get the little nudges
Yeah.
with the nose.
Yeah, it's
And I'll be
amazing.
like, what's going on? I'm like, oh man, thank you. You're right. I talk to my dogs all the time. Just, well, I know they understand me. That's all there is to it.
I'll have long conversations with my dogs, especially in the car when I'm alone with them. It's wonderful. Okay, Kim. Well, we got to wind this down. Thanks so much for coming on. Again, the book is called When Hope Found Me. You said it is pre-order, or is it ready, or where is it at?
Pre-order right now for digital version, and the paperback will be released in early December, probably the first week in December. But digital version right now is on Amazon pre-order, and it'll be released on the 24th this month.
Okay, great. Do you have a website you want to give out?
Yes, it is just my name. It's KimLenglingAuthor.com. You can see everything that I'm doing and what's going on and what's coming in the future.
Okay, super. Well, it was nice meeting you, nice talking with you, and best of luck with everything. And happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. Thank you.